How's it going, guys? This is Bailey with Rogers Performance Marine. So what I've got here is my model year 2025 dealer demo boat. This year we've gone with the Lund 2075 Tyee. It's one of the more popular models in the large boat series in our area. So we felt like with the new changes for 2025, it'd be the perfect time to use this for our dealer demo. So typically when I do these walkthrough videos and show you the boats, it's before we get them prepped, before we get them to the lake. And then by the time we do get them down to the lake, we've sold them. We're too busy to get, another in-depth review on it. So what I wanted to do is use this a couple of times and then give you guys some feedback, show you the changes that they made for 2025, and then also tell you kind of our experiences we've had with the boat. So right now we've had this boat on Lake Powell, two different occasions for a few days. Lake Powell is a really big body of water. If you haven't been there before, definitely check it out. We've used it for cruising up the lake, just some general sightseeing. We've, of course, gone fishing in it, done a little bit of towing, wakeboarder skis, things like that. Just get an overall feel of how this boat's going to handle on such a big body of water like Lake Powell. And honestly, it's performed above our expectations. We're really comfortable with the Tyee hull. We know that. We've used that for quite a few years. The power plant that we've chose, we have a lot of familiarity with that one. And then the changes that they made really just took again this boat to the next level. Few things to talk about on the outside. So we've gone with the premium graphic package with the raised Lund lettering. This year we did go with the chrome red color. Do like that a lot. A lot of times you'll see us do the black or the chrome lettering. The red really matches the decals on the Pro XS, so we felt like it would fit there really well. We've gone with the custom tandem axle trailer with the bow steps. We'll show you the bow steps here in a little bit. So it's got your dive inflated fenders, of course, all LED lighting, surge brakes, upgraded wheels and tires. And then, like I mentioned, the bow ladder we'll show you here in a little bit. Going to the back of the boat with the custom trailer, you do get the rear retractable transom straps like that, much easier to use. For power plants, like I mentioned earlier, we've got the big Mercury V8 250 horsepower Pro XS, and then we do have the Mercury 15 horsepower kicker. This is an EFI electronic fuel injected model, not carbureted anymore. With this, we're running a 19 pitch. Lake Powell is about 3,000 feet in altitude. Once we got it past the break-in period, wide open throttle, we were hitting that 51 mile an hour mark. I do believe if you're going to be in that 5, 6, 7,000 foot range as far as altitude, you should probably look at stepping down to a 17. This is Mercury stainless steel Tempest Plus. Really good performing prop. Gets out of the hull really well. And then that 50 mile an hour speed was really nice on the top end. Fuel burn, not too bad at all either. But again, 3,000 feet lower, 19 seemed great. If you're going to start getting in those higher mountain lakes, I would recommend looking at a 17. Not a whole lot more I want to show you on the back of the boat. Not a lot of changes here for 2025. What I want to do is climb up inside and show you where they made the real big changes. All right, so first I want to start in the bow of the boat. Not a whole lot of design changes for 2025 in here, but if you're someone watching the video because you're looking at possibly purchasing a Tyee, I did want to show you the layout, storage, and then some options that they have up in the bow. For the video, I'm going to get this seat out of the way so you can see the bow in there. One change they did make with the seating for 2025 is they've gone with all new pedestals and seat bases. You can still get the air ride pedestals, which is what we've got in this boat. They went with a company by the name of 4-Star, I believe. Super sturdy pedestals, bases seem the same way. I do like how smooth they are coming in and out. Got a little track system that lines them up. It makes it a lot easier to use than the previous year's bases, in my opinion. So as you can see, it's set up right now. I've got the starboard side with the bow filler cushion in, or excuse me, the bow cushion in. This boat does have both sides, of course. Just want to show you that layout. You can easily go remove these cushions if you're not having anyone laying up there for the day, and if you're just strictly fishing out of the bow. Nice to have. If you're going to utilize the full occupancy of this boat, those cushions make it to where two people can comfortably lay out. They do fit 2 full-size adults, and then the cockpit isn't near as crowded when you're at max capacity. While we're at looking into the bow, I want to show you a few storage things. So on our starboard side, you're going to have your bow live well. This boat's going to have 2 live wells, one in the front, one in the back of the boat, and then our bow storage as well. Generally, this bow live well does get used for like a cooler area when we're out using it. The transom live well is very big, so we use that for our fish. Nice big storage locker up on the starboard side of the bow. It is lined too to try and keep all your stuff that's in there dry. Center storage compartment, that's going to be for your batteries. So we're running a total of 3 batteries in this boat in a 36-volt setup for the trolling motor that we've got. You can do 2 or 3. Your bare minimum is going to be a 24-volt on this boat, but most commonly we're going to run 36-volt. Nice access though to get the batteries in and out, hook up cables. There's a lot of room in there. You don't want to be fighting when you're putting those larger batteries in. It makes it super easy to drop those in and go. And then you've got your port side bow compartment. This thing's huge. I mean, you can literally put downriggers in there if you want. Right now, we've just got a pack of orange life jackets in there. Again, you have the aluminum ring around it. Keep all your stuff in there dry. Battery charger access is in there. Nice big storage compartment. That's one thing in my videos about Lund that I talk about is there's really no wasted space in any of their models. They use every inch of this boat properly, which is a big deal when we're talking a 20-foot boat. Another thing I like, I think I talk about this in literally every video, is our bow cargo nets. Super nice for things like our dock line, our fenders, things that we're grabbing and using all the time. I don't have to lift up seats. I don't have to tell people to get out of my way. They're just right there, easy to access. Standard on this boat, but if you're looking at a Lund that has it as an option, I definitely recommend going ahead and getting it. Looking at the very forward part of the bow, a couple cool things. Very important to notice their cleat placement. They've done a good job here. When we're tying this boat off to the docks, like at Lake Powell, I'll usually use my bow cleat and then transom cleat, and then my center cleats I'll use for my fenders. So dock rope on the bow and transom, fenders on the ones that are more midship area. In terms of electronics, we are running a Minn Kota Ultera Quest series that can be ran in 24-volt or 36-volt. We're running at 36-volt on this size of boat. We do have this one linked to the Solix 10 that's on the console. Cool thing about that is like our Solix 10 can tell us our battery levels, so I don't have to have an external battery monitor. That can all be monitored through the Solix. And then up here, I've got a 12-inch Garmin. I'll have a 10-inch Garmin on my console. They are linked together. I've got them running Panoptics on the transom as well as my live scope here up in the bow. Live scope, we used a CFS Fishing Specialties bracket so we can move it anywhere in the boat. We mounted the hub box for it underneath the driver's console, so the wiring's easy to get to, easy to unplug. If I'm using it in the towards the back of the boat or the bow of the boat, it really doesn't matter. It's all removable there. A couple other small things in the bow. You can use this area. I'm not going to set it up completely, but you can pull this area up and have it set up to be 1, additional storage, and 2, extend your casting surface on the front deck. A lot of times you get a little cooler that'll fit in there nicely, but then I do have some more bow deck area by lifting that compartment up. In here I've got extra storage, not the biggest storage compartment, but again, there's no wasted space here. I mean, you can use that for your flags, some small life jackets, fishing tackle, whatever. They're just not wasting any space. So now we'll move back into the cockpit. All right, so now into the cockpit of the boat. Again, same with the bow, not any major changes that you're going to see here aside of the console. We'll talk about that here in a second. Again, for somebody looking at the Tyee series, I do want to take some time to show you the layout, show you the storage, and some options that they've got going on. So working from the very back of the boat on our working our way up, you do have a spot where you can put a rear fishing chair here. That's not going to be used while you're driving. That's just going to be while you're sit anchored down using the spot lock, anything like that, rear fishing. We do have our base for our ski pole. Ski pole is up underneath the bidney top and the top hider here. Nice to have for the days you want to pull around the kids on a ski or two or anything like that. With the 2 aft seats laid down, you can see you've got really nice deck space. You can have somebody up in the front fishing and then 1 or 2 guys back here fishing, quite a bit of room there. But when you're cruising, you're using the max occupancy of the boat. You can lift these up, and I do have 2 comfortable chairs. And what's cool, not the tallest guy, but I have a ton of room. I mean, even somebody over 6 feet tall would have plenty of room without having their knees jammed into the person in front of them. Cup holders in the transom, tool holders built into the cup holder as well. Underneath the seats at the back of the boat, you're going to have locations for your batteries. So the port side gives us our battery for our kicker motor. Starboard side is going to give us our battery for the house system and main motor. 2025, these boats are going to come standard with a battery switch. Your battery switch is going to be located there. When you're done using the boat, make sure to shut it off. Next time you come out, make sure you turn it on. That's going to control all power inside the boat itself. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, this is the main live well that we're going to be using. This is their premier live well system, built-in aerator, very, very large live well, a lot of room back here. I touched on it earlier in this segment of the video, but again, this is going to be your top hider. So underneath here, you're going to have your bimini top or your sport top, as well as your ski tow bar. This is nice to have because it gets the bimini top out of the way on those days where it's not too hot, the weather's great, you don't want the top up. You can have it on the boat, you don't need to leave it at home, but it's not in your way. You're not trying to get, your fishing poles or anything around it. Same you've seen in previous year's models. You've got port and starboard side locking storage. Really, really good storage on the port side for your rods. It's got rod tubes in there to make sure your rods aren't getting beat up. Starboard side, really deep storage, a lot of great access. You can put really whatever you need in there. Again, these got pro ride seats. So this boat's got a total of 3 pro ride seats that are completely removable. They're all on air ride pedestals. Pro ride seats are standard for 2025. And then if you can see right now in the video, we do have the 2 upgraded captain's chairs. Those are the new suspension seats, came out a couple years ago. Very, very nice seating to have. So now I want to show you guys the bow and kind of talk about some changes they made there. All right, I did not mean we were talking about the bow. We already covered that. What I really want to talk about was the change in console. So you can see no more what I'd call the bubble console where your gauges are up here and in your way, really limiting your space for electronics and viewing. They've done that on both port and starboard side. So nice, flush look, super clean, gives a lot of visibility. We've got a super deep glove box on the port side. It does have a built-in 12-volt outlet. You can charge your phones, your trolling motor remotes, anything like that you want in there. That is locking, so you can keep your valuables in there. Below here, I've got more under console storage. It's got the net system in there. Really great for those things that you're grabbing often. Moving over to the driver's side of the boat, this is the biggest change. They've done a great job with the redesign of the console. You started seeing it last year with the Adventures, and now they're working it into every series. I absolutely love what they've done. Electronics have come a long way in fish boats, and they're making sure that they can accompany those properly. So what I've got right now set up, again, I've got my Garmin 10, and then I've also got my Solix 10. Garmin 10, of course, it's on an external mount out and away. That's something we're not always using. If we're not using live scope or Panoptics, we can take and store that away. The big deal here is being able to put a 10. I mean, this doesn't look like much because there's so much room in here, but a 10 is a massive unit. I mean, if you compare that to 2021 and later models, to put a 10 on the console without the use of like a RAM mount or a Cisco mount or any form of electronics mount, that's almost impossible. Like in a lot of cases, that was the very, very largest you could go, and you were kind of cramming it in there. Now I can fit a 10 and I've still got a ton of room. I could have gone all the way up to a 12 right here and still felt like I could put another console on here. And I'm not double stacking with electronics mounts. I still have great visibility through my windshield. This was a big change, especially when they're starting to do things like, most importantly, Garmin Live Scope and Humminbird Mega Live, but then even down to your Mega Side imaging and your 360 imaging. You want as big a unit as possible if you're going to spend the money on that type of electronics, because you want to be able to see what you're paying for, right? If you have a little 7 on there, it's kind of hard to see. Start bumping up the 10s, the 12s, and now we're seeing some of the 15s. This gives you room to accompany that without completely wasting your console space. So, they did a great job there. Obviously, it's something we're really excited about. Now we feel like our electronics upgrades, the possibilities are limitless. When they made the changes, brought the gauges down here, they did a great job here. Everything out of the way, super clean look. So I've still got my trim gauge, my fuel gauge, and then my Mercury SmartCraft gauge can tell me all my engine parameters there. All switching for your live well horns, bilge pumps, interior lights, exterior lights, things like that. They're all going to be right here. New phone holder they upgraded a couple of years ago. This will slide and open up, fit your larger smartphones that we're all carrying around now. Stereo access is nice and easy to get to. They've just done a really good job making it simplistic, but a really clean look. Couple other things to talk about. If you're looking at these, you're going to get it with a kicker and a main motor. Your kicker controls are right here, nice, tucked out of the way. Driver's got cup holders, tool holders close by. We went with the 250 like I talked about earlier. So this has the DTS system in it. This new control box is super, super nice. I've got built-in active trim. It makes the boat handle really well. I used to tell people that active trim is for the folks that are new to boating, don't understand trim. I think active trim's come a long way since it first came out. Works really, really good. DTS is smooth as butter. It's all electronic throttle and shift. Can't ask for any better controls there. Ignition for the kicker is going to be below there. Everything for the kicker motor can be, you can start it, shut it off, shift it, give it throttle, steer it all from here as it should be. Overall, great system. So it's a brief overview on the boat. Like I say, we've had it on PAL quite a few times. Spent some good time fishing, cruising, everything on it. Really, really happy and really excited to continue to use this in the model year 2025.